You're listening to Addressing Gettysburg.
Hello, Patreon, and thank you for being a patron. What can I say about Ken Rich? If you haven't taken a tour with Ken Rich of the town of Gettysburg, you are missing out. He has a company called Reluctant Witnesses Historic Tours. They specialize in tours of the town. Ken, I mean, the guy he researches down to who's related to who by marriage and what cousin married the cousin of that person, and now they're related by marriage because of this. And so there's that whole family dynamic thing going on, and he just knows a lot. There is a lot that he knows, and he's fascinating to talk to. I always have a good time talking to Ken, and I thought, well, this is one of the people that I have to have on to talk about the town of Gettysburg. So I invited him on. Joining us is a friend of ours named Veronica, who is studying to become a town guide. And so I invited her along. I said, hey, why don't you come in? You can listen to what he's talking about and, take notes or whatever and ask him questions if you wanted to. As you'll see, she's a little bit shy, but that's okay. Ken is not shy at all, so it was not like pulling teeth to interview Ken. One thing I will make you aware of is that the microphone Ken had is a type that you have to talk right into, and Ken is a mover and a shaker. He moves around a little bit, and so sometimes he's not very clear on the microphone. Sometimes he's like all the way back here, and then other times he's right up here. So just, be aware of that, and I'll try to mitigate that as much as possible in editing. But anyway, here it is. This is really interesting stuff to learn about the town of Gettysburg. Don't forget, I'm learning, you're learning, so let's learn together with Ken Rich, talking about the history of the town of Gettysburg up until June 30th, 1863. Oh, because that means there's more. There's more coming about the town. All right. Let's see what Ken has to say. Hello, Patreon users. This is Matt, and this is another episode of Addressing Gettysburg. And today, I have a special guest with me who, if I have to ask somebody about the history of the town of Gettysburg, he's one of two people that I would go to. Usually he's the first because he answers quicker. But his name is Ken Rich. He's a retired transportation executive. He owns Reluctant Witnesses Historic Town Tours and gives tours for the Victorian Carriage Company and the Heritage Center. He's an independent historian and Gettysburg battlefield buff, and he's the factual editor for Gettysburg Publishing, and he's one of my historical consultants for the scripts for the free episodes of Addressing Gettysburg. And today we're going to talk about one of the episodes, or the part of one of the episodes that he consulted on in episode 2, talking about the town of Gettysburg. Ken, welcome to the show.
Thanks. That's maybe a bit more introduction than I deserve there, but I appreciate that.
Well, everybody's a star in my eyes.
There we go.
And sitting in with us today is our friend Ronnie. We'll call her Ronnie. And Ronnie is studying to take the town guide exam. Is that right, Ronnie?
That's accurate.
That's accurate. Okay. And so she's here to learn from Ken. She's taking notes. Ronnie, at any point in your in this, just chime in, okay? You don't need to raise your hand or anything. Just chime in, okay?
Okay.
Ask a question. Ask away. All right. So, Ken, we're talking about the town of Gettysburg. Might as well start at the beginning. It was originally in the area known as the Marsh Creek Settlement. What was that? And take us from there.
Okay. So
closer to the mic, please, Ken.
All right. Close enough?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So the first settlers that we have in the area are in the area 1717. And they are fur traders and trappers. And they come up from Monocacy, Maryland. Mm-hmm. Now, Monocacy now, it's a battlefield park. That was there before Frederick.
Okay.
Right now, we'll think about this.
Not the battlefield park, Monocacy.
Right. Yeah, Monocacy. The Monocacy itself, the settlement of Monocacy, is there before the town of Frederick even. And we have to think about how they travel in colonial times. It's by water. So water is going to be the source. The Potomac River becomes the Monocacy River there. And then as the Monocacy River, its headwaters back up into Pennsylvania, there's two creeks. One is Rock Creek to our east, and the other is Marsh Creek to our west.
Ah.
All right, so the creeks define the valley. All right,
Okay.
so the valley itself, and we should say the Penn family. The Penn family's plan for the valley is that it be a reserve or preserve.
So you're talking William Penn,
Right.
and his family.
Right. And of course that's Philadelphia. They control the colony of Pennsylvania. And they're looking at this valley as a reserve or preserve for the Penn family. That is not going to be any settlements here. Excuse me. Think of English manors, all right, and so it gets that name. They have a property in England called Mask, and so it's named the Manor of Mask.
Aha.
All right, now,
Okay.
moving forward, then the Penns issue a license to Reverend Wright, and Reverend Wright's license is twofold. One is that he's allowed to operate a ferry on the Susquehanna River. Right? And two, he'll collect land taxes for the colony of Pennsylvania.
Can I guess where this is?
Yes,
Wrightsville?
that's right.
Thank God.
As we go 5 miles south of there, the Marylanders issue a similar permit, and I think it's John Krebs.
John Krebs. I know John.
And Krebs is issued a permit from Maryland.
Oh, I thought you meant the guy, John Krebs.
No. It's I'm pretty sure that's
Okay.
no. I think that's his name because they're going to call it Krebs War.
Okay.
Right. And I'm looking for my notes on it to get it straight, and I don't see it here right now. What happens is that the Marylanders are trying to collect taxes from the Pennsylvanians, and the Pennsylvanians are trying to collect taxes from the Marylanders.
Of course.
And the reason it's overlapping, and then both colonies are going to call this the disputed land. Somebody in England made a mistake on a map, and they're measuring the Pennsylvania colony and the Maryland colony from this mistake, Newark, Delaware. Newark, Delaware is in the wrong place on the map. Right?
Okay.
And more confusing than this, Delaware was initially a Dutch colony, not an English colony. And it comes into English control the same time that New York does.
Okay.
All right, so we've got this mess on the maps. And so now both of these sides are trying to collect taxes from the same people. And, this is the Wild West. So they start shooting at each other.
Of course.
Right? And one of Wright's men kills Krebs' nephew. And so the law enforcement from Philadelphia comes out, arrests him, and takes him back to Philadelphia. And he's exonerated of all charges. Well, because he just shot a Marylander, so who cares in Philadelphia, right? And with that, they decide that they have a problem. And to settle this problem, they're going to hire 2 surveyors from London. And their names are Mason and Dixon. Right? And so now Mason and Dixon, and actually if you watch or look at what they did, they'll start surveying the Delaware line first.
Okay.
All right, but Delaware line, and then they'll survey the line between Maryland and Pennsylvania. All right. Now, of course, at this point, the Marylanders are claiming 10 miles north of here to Hunterstown.
Okay.
Right? On the next valley over, Carroll Valley. Okay. That's named after the Carroll family from Maryland. They're claiming that.
Okay.
Carroll Track Road. Well, Carroll Track Road is bordering what the Marylanders are claiming in Pennsylvania.
All right.
So what's going to happen is that the surveyors are going to come in. They have to survey the boundary. Once they survey the boundary, then they can establish where your property is.
Okay.
Right? So Wright is issuing a permit, a promise. We promise to give you that property once we figure out where that property is.
Okay.
And that's not going to settle itself out until the 1760s. All right.
All right.
Now, smart guy comes along. All right. And that's his name's Schreiber. All right. And the 2 Schreiber brothers get permits from Pennsylvania and Maryland. And they go to what we know now as Hunterstown.
Okay.
They establish 2 farms there. Eventually, they're going to establish the church that's there today, too, Conewago Church. It's all going to be tied in together. All right? And so that's the first family that's actually settling in the valley with permits. Right? Now, Wright gets money from sending people across the Susquehanna. And so he's ferrying people across and across. And so comes into the Marsh Creek area where we are, Marsh Creek, behind us.
Right.
And families are settling here. All right. Families that we know today. McLean family, Black Horse Tavern, all right, is an example. All right. So the Penns have not authorized people to settle in this valley. Once they had the treaty signed from the Susquehannocks, then the valley is the Penns.
Right.
All right. And now they have all these settlers here. Right. And so the Penns send their surveyors in, because now we have surveyors present because of Mason-Dixon, into the valley. All right. Again, Wild West, the Pennsylvanians chase the surveyors out at gunpoint. All right. And one of the surveyors takes exception to this. And he goes back to Philadelphia and he files a complaint. And on the complaint, he lists the 40 families that he found here in the valley.
Okay.
All right. And so we have the list of the first 40 settlers.
Oh, neat.
All right. Some of the names that are going to be in there are Sweeney is on that list. All right.
Tavern? Sweeney's Tavern?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Gettys.
James and Samuel.
Samuel first. James would be a little tyke at this part of it.
Right.
So this would be, okay. So this is like 1740.
Okay.
All right. Some of the other names, Matthew Black. All right. Matthew Black.
Black's
Yes.
Hill?
All right. Okay. So his family, they prosper, and they'll set up a trading post on South Mountain, Black's Gap.
Oh, okay.
And
all
then
right.
over there, if you're really adventurous and you take the Mumminsburg Road out.
Yeah.
All right. And after you cross the mountain, you make a right, there's Black's Gap Road.
Okay, yeah.
That's an original road.
Wow.
Okay.
Now, is that the old... before
that's
the
a 1769 Colonial Road, yes.
So that would be the road that you would have taken before the Carlisle Road was built.
Exactly. That's
to go to Carlisle. You would go to Carlisle
that would be
that
the
way.
second road. That's the second road that's built.
Okay. We're skipping ahead there, but
okay.
okay.
I'm getting there. I'm getting to the roads next. But I just want to establish some of these family names.
Yeah. Keep going.
McCreary is there. I mean, so we're going to get townsfolks here. And they've been here for already, by the time of the Civil War, their family was here in the 1740s.
Okay.
So we're at 5 generations, maybe,
right,
in some of these families. The McClellan family, they sell Black Horse Tavern to the Bream family. They move into town, and the center of town has the McClellan Hotel at the time of the battle.
All right.
But again, we digress, okay, because that happens to be on a road.
That's later,
so let's go back and talk about the roads.
Okay.
All right. So the first road comes through, and Adams County Historical Society has this information. You can get it from their programs. The first, and Woody Chris did a great one on the roads and establishing the battlefield. So go back and get information from that one. It's a great piece of writing. The first road is from York, Pennsylvania, right, through Taneytown, Maryland, to Monocacy.
Okay.
All right, so that's east of us. That's the Monocacy Road. All right, and so now, the settlers here in the valley are they don't want to be part of Pennsylvania, but all of a sudden, where's my road? You build a road for those guys. Where's my road?
Right.
All right. So later on, I guess it's check my dates. I'm gonna say about 17. Everything's about anyway.
Yeah.
About 1747, they start building the road from York, Pennsylvania, and it's like connect the dots. And so that road comes through, and it's going to York Springs or Hunterstown. It'll connect the dots. It'll come through this valley, all right? And traces of it, you could say, is actually on Chambersburg Street. The original road went behind where the Gettysburg Hotel is today. Maybe that alley.
So, okay, now I remember in July when you took us on a town tour, you showed us a map overlaid on the current layout.
Yes.
And the Baltimore Pike and the Chambersburg, 30, were both
on the intersection,
askew from where they are now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Like they're off a little bit.
Right. Well,
why did they change it?
Well, okay, first off, they straightened it out. All right. I mean, the roads then are, they serve a purpose. First off, we're changing from water to water. But let me follow this road.
Okay.
I follow this road for a second, and then maybe I'll help answer the question better. So York's from York, Pennsylvania, and then all the small towns through what we know is Gettysburg today, because Gettysburg's not there yet.
Right.
Okay. Over South Mountain, out the Fairfield Road.
So
Right
you're going,
past us.
just for the sake of the listener, you're going. Want to hear the rest of this episode and more like it? Then go to patreon.com/addressing Gettysburg. That's patreon.com/addressing Gettysburg and become a patron today.